Hello and welcome everybody to Polypop Theory. I am your host Emily. In today's video, we're going to be discussing what's going on down in the state of Florida with Ron DeSantis. Looks like he has finally nuked Disney out of existence. Let's get into it. Okay, so looks like Florida has had enough of Disney's shit. Now, I understand I'm an Australian. I should not be commenting on the politics of the United States. However, I'm mostly interested in this because it's got to do with Disney, and Disney has gone so woke over the last few years, it's just become unbearable. So it's nice to see someone finally standing up to this damn corporation who thinks that they have a right to influence anyone's politics, for that matter, through, well, the use of money and power and influence that they have over different individuals. Disney is an entertainment company. They should not have anything to do with children in terms of sex or gender identity. And yet this is how this whole mess has started. So this is a bit of a clap back against Disney's involvement in the Don't Say Gay bill, or as I prefer to call it, the anti-grooming bill. Wokeism is something that has spread across the world. It's been a massive export from the United States. We're really starting to see it occurring here in Australia, which is why I'm interested in this, because it's appearing in kids' TV shows that some of my young members of my family are exposed to, much to my disgust. And it seems that other parents and other members of families with young kids are sick and tired of. And the people of Florida have spoken. Ron DeSantis has answered them. And this is the biggest power play I think the guy could have pulled against Disney. I think it's just wonderful. So, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill abolishing Disney's Orlando tax district. So, over the last, probably since its inception, the last 50 years, Disney has had this so-called Reedy Creek improvement district, which effectively makes them their own city. I'm sure people who are watching this have already watched other people's videos that have already provided a background to this, but regardless, this is basically special privileges for a corporation in order to try and encourage the company to come to Florida and build there, because they needed the investment, they needed the money, and they needed the people coming in to provide money for the state. And so they've basically given Disney free reign to do whatever they want, so long as, basically to do whatever they want, build whatever they want. They don't need to pay tax, but they don't get assistance from the government either. And that's enabled them to build what they want in Orlando, in Reedy Creek, without permission. But now, with the passing of this bill, it seems that Disney is now going to have to answer to the government and the state government the same as everybody else. So, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill on Friday to abolish Disney's self-governing district in Orlando, punishing the company for its opposition to the so-called Don't Say Gay law. The bill would dissolve the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which covers nearly 40 square miles of Orange and Osceola counties, and encompasses the Disney theme parks and resorts. The district, created in 1967, gives Disney the power to enact its own land use rules and to tax itself to provide services. I am not comfortable having the type of agenda get special treatment in my state, the governor said. I just can't do it, so the bill here sets the marker. DeSantis has been at war with Disney since last month, when the company, under pressure from its employees, voiced its opposition to the parental rights education law. Parents of Florida don't want their children having their school teachers teach them about gender identity and sexual orientation to their kindergartners and their third graders. How is this a problem? I'm not a parent yet, but I certainly really want to be. I've got a lot of young members of my family, young nieces, nephews. I know for a fact that no parent wants them exposed to this. I mean, these children are barely out of diapers. For goodness sake, they're learning 2 + 2 = 4 alongside, am I a boy, am I a girl, she, him, it, is, I identify as an attack helicopter. This is too complex, and these children are physically incapable, let alone psychologically capable, of understanding what sex is. And it is not up to a private corporation to determine that for them. It is up to the parents to expose them to that, and when they want them to be exposed to this stuff. It's despicable. It's grooming, and yet they're defending this decision because of pushes within the company itself. It's just despicable. And we already know that this is an agenda. that Disney has. All just so some wanker allegedly wanted to run for, the CEO wanted to run for president eventually, which obviously hasn't worked out since they've got that other geriatric bloke in the position instead. So the law forbids classrooms from discussing sex to young children, requires that any discussion in their later grades be age appropriate, and gives parents the power to sue school districts for alleged violations. Excellent. Absolutely wonderful. I have no problem with any of this. The company issued a statement in March saying that it would work to overturn the law. So they want the right to allow their staff to groom children, or rather they support teachers in their efforts to groom kids. And this is supposed to be a company centered around family values. Walt must be turning in his grave. Yeah, at a news conference in Hialeah, DeSantis said that was a provocation. You're a corporation based in Burbank, California, and you're going to marshal your economic might to attack the parents of my state, which is exactly what they're doing. He said, we view that as a provocation and we were going to fight back against that. DeSantis referenced video that have circulated of international Disney Zoom meetings. In one of them, a Disney exec spoke of adding queerness to the program, which is, if I just go over here, this video right here.
Like, Proud Family, Disney TVA, the showrunners were super welcoming, Meredith Roberts, and like our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda. And so like I feel like I felt
not at all secret gay agenda. And this woman, as from what I understand, is the producer or the writer, according to this Bounding Into Comics, the new revamped Proud Family show, Louder and Prouder. Okay. Now, I watched this as a young kid, and I'm a bit scared, honestly, to take another look at this or to expose some of my nieces and nephews to this when I'm babysitting. Because I'm not so sure their parents would be happy with me exposing them to one of Disney's not-so-secret gay agenda. Yeah. I think they will revoke my rights to see them. Oh, for the love of God. That's the woman that DeSantis is trying to protect kids from at the request or demand of the parents of Florida, as if wanting to keep sexualized content away from their children is a bad thing. So I don't think Walt would appreciate what's going on in the company right now. Hell no. DeSantis has previously accused Disney of trying to impose a woke ideology on their state. More like the world. Disney is an international corporation. Like my family members are exposed to this too. It's everywhere. We view that as a significant threat. This wokeness will destroy this country if we let it run unabated. To me, it is the controlled demolition of the family, the stereotypical family that is the foundation of every nation, like a two-parent household, preferably a mother and a father and their children. And the reason they want the family destroyed, it is my belief, because the family is self-sustaining. If they have a strong mother and father within the household, they really don't need the government's help at all. They don't really need private enterprise to come in and babysit their children for them, because they are independent of everything if they're doing their jobs as parents correctly. And when parents and families come together with other families, they build a community, and communities are self-sustaining. It's when government and corporations get involved that everything starts to turn to shit, because they think they know how to care for you and your children better than you do. As if. Now, I've got medical issues of my own. How am I supposed to expect some random bureaucrat who doesn't even know I exist, doesn't know my name, I'm just a data point on a spreadsheet to them, how are they supposed to know what my medical needs are, or what medications I'm supposed to take, or what foods I'm supposed to eat? How would they know, and how regularly I need to take it? They need to know absolutely everything about me, and even then the system is so ineffective that they can't possibly do that for everybody. They can't care for everybody all at once, which is why it's so important to have a strong family around you to help build communities, because they are able to deal with issues on an individual basis. But that also means less control for government and corporations, which is exactly what Disney and corrupt governments want control over. They want you to have less power over your own life and your own children's life by exposing them to this awful woke ideology to try and make the state and corporations your child's mummy and daddy, to where they will choose to turn to government and Mickey Mouse over the people who gave them life. And if you can do that, you ultimately control society itself from the individual level, because you control the way people think. And if you can get them at a young age, it's so hard for the older generation to pull them out of it, which is exactly the point. And we are seeing this with the millennial generation right now, and we're starting to see it somewhat with Gen Z, although I think they're sort of recognizing what's going on and thinking, holy shit, I'm backing as far away from that ideology as possible because that is messed up. Disney has commented publicly on the new law. The law is set to take effect on June 1st, 2023, and could well face legal challenges before then. If it goes into effect, Disney would be beholden to Orange and Osceola counties to maintain the roads and sewer systems at the park and to provide other public services. The counties would face additional expenses which would well be borne by taxpayers. So they're basically discussing in this part of the paragraph that this is going to end up costing the taxpayer more, allegedly, because now it's not on Disney to do this. They're not absorbing the tax themselves. It's going to be the rest of the tax-paying population to have to bear this burden. However, DeSantis does sort of address this, and it's, from the sounds of it, he has some sort of plan to enforce or ensure that Disney bears the brunt of this, although it wouldn't shock me if this winds up rolling into more price hikes at the Disney parks, because that's something I have been following. I have been a regular attendee to the parks whenever I've gotten the chance to be able to travel overseas. Obviously, the last 2 and a bit years has been impossible, and at the moment, it still is for people like me who have decided not to go along with the demands of governments in order to have a particular procedure, which has effectively locked me in my own country. However, but I have been following the Disney parks and their expenses because I do want to know just how much it's going to cost me to go back. And from the looks of things, it ain't worth going back to these parks, particularly if they're going to try and groom the kids that are with me that attend. The bill passed the legislature on Thursday as part of the special session originally called to deal with the congressional redistricting. DeSantis also signed a bill to remove a carve-out for Disney from the state's 2021 law that aims to regulate social media platforms. So he's going after all different levels of Disney's influence, which hopefully, I believe the idea is to get them to back the hell off of parental rights, back the hell off of grooming children, because there is going to be a consequence for it. Whether or not the taxpayer is going to get slammed with this more, I don't know. I'm not living in Florida. I'm not living in the US. I don't know how that's going to hit people financially, but I would think, and if there's anyone living in Florida that's watching this right now who is a parent, I would love to know, if there were a choice to be made between you potentially paying more tax, but knowing that your children are not being exposed to this when you're not around, or this woman's not so secret gay agenda, but it will cost you more financially, would you prefer that, or would you prefer to allow this woman to indoctrinate your children, but you'll save a penny, or you'll save a pretty penny? I am definitely curious. I know what I would be doing. I mean, I've already cancelled a bunch of Disney trips. I've cancelled the subscription platform. I will not give Disney my money. I'm over this crap. I am usually a big fan of Star Wars, but at the moment, you know, that Obi-Wan Kenobi show is coming out soon, but I'm really, really nervous about it. Not going to watch it. Yeah, it's just too much for me now. It's just getting to the point where it's starting to be so overt. It is so in your face, this agenda, and it is not up to this corporation to tell you when your children are ready to learn about this type of subject. And personally, I also think that when you look at the amount of people that have moved into the state of Florida, over 250,000 in the last year alone have people been moving to the state of Florida. That's 250,000 plus. That's a lot of people bringing their money, their business skills into the Floridian economy. So before, it used to be treated as, you know, Disney brought in a lot of business for the state, and the state really needed them, from what I understand. But now I'm not so sure. And it's not like they can pick up Disney World and move the damn thing. It's not that easy. And there's a lot of people on Twitter, it's just completely laughable, who think that they can actually just move the parks. What's the big deal? Just pick up and move. Yeah, as if it's taken that 50 years to get Disney World to where it is. There is no way that is happening. There is, 60,000 plus employees of the parks. They're just not going to pick up and leave. 250,000 people are moving to the state. Jobs will have to have been created as a result of all those people being there, bringing their investment to their economy. DeSantis knows this. He knows that Florida is now in a position where they don't need the big mouse. They don't need them anymore. And they're sick to death of having this company trying to influence the state and its people and its kids. So what do you all think of this? Do you think that the actions that DeSantis has taken is a breath of fresh air, as I do? I personally think that this is a wonderful thing that he is doing. It is very interesting. It's interesting times. So what do you guys think of all this? I really want to know what is going on in your minds. If there's anyone living in Florida, if there's any parents in Florida that have been following this, do you have any plans to take your kids to Disney World? I sure as hell wouldn't be if I were in your position, but I do really want to know what you think. Are you happy to cop some of the financial brunt from this, knowing that your children will be kept safer? Or would you prefer to save a bit of your money in your back pocket and just disallow your children from watching Disney Channel from now on? Please let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.